In this video, I'll be discussing methods for subjects such as English, science, maths, etc. Those tips help me that I'll be discussing with you guys in this video to ace my GCSEs and GCSE mocks and how they can help you guys too. And hopefully this video you guys will find useful and really interesting. And if you guys have any more videos you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get straight into the video. First up, I'll be addressing some of the most important questions that GCSE students ask about GCSE mocks. These questions are from real GCSE students, so hopefully these will help you guys too. And then after that, I'll be going into the different types of tips for different subjects. So stay tuned till the end of this video to see how you can ace your mocks and get all 7s to 9s. So the first question is, when should I start revision for my GCSE mocks? So I would say for mocks, what I did was I started about a month before, and that worked out pretty well for me. And then for actual GCSEs, I started about 2, 3, maybe 3.5 months before. And that was perfect timing, like for every subject. And I could do everything really easily, and it wasn't really stressful at all. So when the exams did come, I was almost laughing when I was doing the exam because it was just like, it was relaxing almost, which is kind of weird to think. But since I had started revising 3.5 months earlier, it wasn't as much stress as maybe if I'd started revising 1 or 2 months ago. So the second question on here is, do you do all the papers and how does that work? So for GCSE mocks, typically what your teachers or like head of subject or whatever will do is give you some topics that you've already done and you'll have a mock out of them. But in your actual exams, what happens is you have exams for different papers. So you have one English exam maybe on Tuesday the 20th, and then on Tuesday, I don't know, and then on the 29th of the same month, you might have the other English paper. So it really depends on, like, it splits up and it's quite easy to revise for in that sense compared to mocks where all your content is in one exam. So that's what's kind of good about GCSE exams, because your grade is kind of determined across 3 papers. So if you have a bad day on one of them, maybe you can improve that by doing well on the others. So the third question is, do you think mocks are harder than GCSEs? And I'd say yes. Honestly, I found my mocks a teeny bit harder than my GCSEs just because apparently mocks are more like set out to see where your weaknesses are so you can work on them before the exams is what I've heard. But GCSEs, since they're over a general population, they're not as hard. But that's really what I heard. It depends for some people. Some people find their mocks go really well, but their GCSEs don't go as well. But for many others, it's actually the opposite, where their mocks go maybe a bit worse than how their actual GCSE exams go. And I think it's more dependent on how much revision and how much you improve between the mocks and the exams, and that's really the main thing. So the fourth thing here is, what are your tips for circus subjects, maths and sciences, and essay subjects? So I'll be discussing all those in this video, and it's kind of separate ways to revise for each type of subject. So maths and sciences, there's another way to revise compared to English or maybe art. So I'll be discussing this later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. So the last thing, or last question here is, should I stop using social media during the exam period? So for GCSE mocks, I didn't really have social media. Like, I didn't go on Instagram, I didn't have that. The only real thing I used to do was make videos on my other channel. But yeah, I've never really had social media for GCSE mocks, but around GCSEs, yeah, I did delete TikTok. I didn't go on Instagram. All of those things, I just kind of took it off, and it was quite nice too almost, and it helped me get the grades that I got in the end. Okay, so the next part of the video is subject tips. I'll be talking about English, maths, science, languages, history, geography, computer science, art, all those subjects. And I'll be using some tips from other people doing other subjects that I don't do, and the subjects that I've already done. So yeah, that's this next section. And if you've watched until here, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Support the channel. You might have seen some of my old videos from my other channel, but yeah, I can't really get onto that channel anymore, and this is my new one. So if you want to see more videos, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. One thing I have to say, it's so much fun to make videos for you guys. I really missed this, so yeah, I hope I can just keep making them over the next few weeks. Yeah, thanks for that. English. Yeah, English. So for English, there are 2 subjects that most GCSE or all GCSE students have to do, and you'll probably have different exams for them in your mocks. So the first subject is GCSE English Literature, the next one is English Language. First off, I'll be talking about English Language. In English Language, you get different types of questions in a paper, and in those questions, you have different ways you have to answer them. So what I suggest for English Language is going over the different types of questions that your teachers told you have for your upcoming GCSE mocks, and just going through and looking at different methods and different ways you're supposed to do them. Try and do some practice questions on the same questions. You can get loads of different past papers online on different websites such as Revision World. Also for question 5s on both papers, if you're doing the article question, then some key tips for that is use a byline, a subheading, try and keep your data, whatever you use, your facts, statistics, concise and to the point, don't overuse them. And if you're doing a story, don't just describe stuff, try and talk about your emotions, feelings, and different things. So that's for English language. So the next English subject is English literature. For English literature, the main thing is you'll probably be looking over a book or poetry or maybe even a play or something like that. Macbeth, Inspector Calls, poetry anthologies, things like that. And the main tip that I have for you guys to do for English is that for English literature specifically, what you should do is make quote sheets for different plays, poems, whatever. Quote sheets really save you in the exam because analysis is super important, but it's nothing without quotes. Try and remember quotes for different characters as well, if that's something you have to do. So for example, Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, the servants, people, whatever. I can't remember that very well right now, but yeah. Try and make different quotes for different characters, that always really helps. And the other thing you guys should do is know an overview of and just knowing where different acts are often really helps. Also, some YouTube videos and YouTube channels that I used for GCSE English were Mr. Bruff, Mr. Sells, and I think loads of people use Mr. Everything English. They're really good for GCSE English tips, so I recommend you guys follow them and just check their videos out. But yeah, those are my main tips. Use quote sheets and try and get an overview of the play. And for analysis, you really just need to practice questions and practice doing essays to get a feel for that and improve your analysis. Try and show your teachers your practice essays, and I'm pretty sure more than often they're happy to mark them because they see you're actually doing effort for their subject. So the next subject that I have for you guys is maths. So what I did for maths is literally maths I've never really been good at, but if I can get an A star in maths, then so can you. For maths, the main thing that I think everyone knows that you have to do is to do questions. Maths is useless for doing notes. You really don't need to do any types of notes for that. And if you do questions, question papers, past papers, you will absolutely ace your maths exam. Try and work on different concepts that you find hard using videos. So I use GCSE Maths Teacher as my main channel and Corbett Maths. They were really good to help me teach topics that I didn't know. And then I went on their websites or on websites like PMT and I downloaded past papers for maths and checked those out. So the next subject I'll be talking about is science, or just overall triple science, double science, same thing, same type of revision methods. For science, Anki flashcards was literally my best friend. I don't know where I'd be without Anki flashcards. I started making my flashcards I think in year 10, and then I finished them all and all the topics by year 10 summer, because I knew that in year 11 it'd be really stressful to make them. If you guys haven't done that, don't worry, because there are different flashcard resources offered out there. On Quizlet, even PMT has flashcards nowadays. But along with doing flashcards and doing active revision, just remembering content, which is a big thing in sciences, both physics, physics, chemistry, biology, do questions, literally. Mark schemes for GCSE aren't too hard, but biology, for example, can be quite difficult. You need to have exact keywords and definitions to get the mark. So the next type of subject I'll be talking to you guys about is languages. But languages, there are really simple steps to getting marks, and main thing is that it's different for each paper you do. So for French, German, and Spanish, you have 4 papers: listening, reading, writing, and speaking, if I said that right. And all of them use different techniques to ace those papers. So for speaking, you really need to memorize questions that the teachers provided you, and memorize answers that use keywords and good tenses, and just difficult types of words to get those top grades. For listening, honestly, I found the hardest in my exams, because you can't really prepare unless you're just doing listening past papers, which I always thought was really boring. But honestly, listening past papers can be really useful, or you can honestly listen to movies and stuff on Netflix and just have English subtitles, and that's often really useful. And then for reading is honestly one of my favorite exams that I did for languages. It was really nice because the stuff is already there and you need to pick out keywords from the questions. And then for writing, I love doing writing. Those two are my favorite exams, because writing you literally can waffle on for ages about anything. Okay guys, so these tips aren't actually by me for this next subject. They're by my cousin BXR Studios, and these tips for computer science, because I've never actually done computer science. So number 1 is learn a programming language early for the exam and program frequently. Number 2, make sure you have at least a grade 6 to 7 worth of knowledge for maths. Number 3, learn pseudocode early and get it out the way, and it will save you tons of times when it comes to revision. Number 4, spend time doing practice programs in exam conditions. Number 5, don't revise for it too hard. Revise enough because the concepts are easy. You just need to understand the logic. Yeah, overall, I really hope that video helped you guys out. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to support the channel and this video. And I really hope these tips were helpful for you guys and for your GCSE mocks to go really well. If you have any more questions about anything, please leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you want to see any more different types of videos from me on this channel, maybe if you're not in year 11 anymore, then please leave those video ideas down in the comment section below, because I love checking them out and doing videos that you guys suggest, because it's always so fun to. Yeah, I hope these tips will really help people doing their GCSE mocks this year or next year. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with a new video. Bye for now.